I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Peters Township Planning Commission for July 12th, 2018. Ed, roll call.
Mr. Mills will not be here, and Mr. Magrino will not be here. Mr. Cartophilis?
Here.
Mr. Wiley? Here. Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Salefis?
Here.
Mr. Berlato?
Here. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the June 12th, 2018 regular meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes of that meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Reports and correspondence, Ed?
The monthly report's in there, and I don't have any comments on it.
Site plans, subdivisions filed?
We have one subdivision filed for review, and it's the Sarshik. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correct. It's the Sarshik plan of lots. It's also a one-lot subdivision on Bower Hill Road, so we'll be dealing with that tonight.
Any other items added to the agenda?
Yeah.
Any audience comments on items not on the agenda?
Good evening, gentlemen. First of all, my name is Monica Merrill. I live at 105 Walnut Drive. I'd like to thank you all for what you do. The service you provide as Planning Commission is invaluable. I am a council person, as you all know. I am here as a council person, but I am speaking solely for myself. I represent no one but myself. I wanted to say a few words about the plans that have been coming up through the Planning Commission and passed on to Council for approval. Most specifically, I wanted to share what may be deemed frustration with many of the plans that come to Council with requests for variances and special conditions that deviate from our newly approved zoning ordinances. Township spent a considerable amount of money and time to do the comprehensive plan and the zoning ordinances. They've been published, yet almost every residential development or any commercial endeavor comes forward seeking some deviation or variance. Now, we all know we live in Pennsylvania, and there are hills and dales and creeks and challenging topography, and we all know that Peters has relied on revenue from development, both residential and commercial, for a long time to support our public infrastructure and our public services. We also know that much of the remaining property in Peters Township that has potential for development also has the probability of difficulty. I think we're pushing the envelope every time a development comes forward. And two recent issues made me feel compelled to come and talk to you. Again, this is my personal opinion and only my view of how things are. And it is not critical to you. It is an observation of what I see happening. The first example, with all due respect to Mr. Hoskins, who has developed some wonderful plans in the township. The most recent phase for Hamlets of Springdale, to me, is pushing the envelope. It's a bit of a folly. It sits on a mound, and the developer requested a loop road to make that workable. That design was a request to compromise our standards, when in fact, there were ways that he potentially could compromise on his own. Fewer lots, maybe a different design, or maybe not going into that part of the property. I wasn't really in favor of the modification. I thought it was a creative solution to a problem that he created by himself. The second is the Waters project. Both the parking spaces, which are too small in the garage, and my recent realization that they have a 4-story frontage on East McMurray Road were very frustrating to me. I do have to ask, did you all realize that the garage was exposed and that in fact there would be 4 stories at East McMurray? Because I didn't when I looked at the plan. And to me, that is a direct violation of the intent of what council stated when we talked about the town center plan. It's water under the bridge in some respects. The design said it's been approved. But that is something that I think should really not have been allowed. or it should have been brought to our attention. When it came to council, it was about the variance for the subdivision for the right-of-way, so that they could have a turning lane. And oh, by the way, there were parking space issues. I don't agree with them being smaller. I don't agree when I realized that the garage was exposed. But, so that's one of the reasons I voted that we approved the subdivision, but I am hopeful that the zoning commission will not approve that variance. I'm personally ashamed that I missed that, because I do try to be very diligent about what I look at and what I read, and take into consideration how it affects the residents and how it matches up with the ordinances. Maybe some people think I'm anal, I don't know. I think I'm doing my job. Anyway, in conclusion, I again want to thank you for what you do. I realize it's a lot to look at and a lot of work. I just want to express my sentiments that I would really hope that the Planning Commission would be a little more critical, look at plans a little more critically when they present requests for deviation and modifications that maybe could be avoided if the developer would not have tried to push the envelope and put as much as they could into a small piece of property. If you would like to say anything in response, that's fine. I just felt that I needed to come, and again, thank you for what you do, and just ask for better scrutiny of what's coming before us.
I'll let Planning Commission respond first, but I need to respond as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you respond first, if you have any response. First of all, I want to say, with respect to Hoskins, Hamlet 6, it was a deviation from our subdivision ordinance. We didn't update that. We were deviating from a rule of 600 feet that's been in our ordinance for 30 years and is outdated. There were no variances granted on the conservation residential zoning ordinance. There have been no variances granted on conservation or mixed residential developments that have come in here and that have been recently approved. One. Two, the waters. It's not 4 stories. It's Valley Brook Road, not East McGraw.
I'm sorry, you're right. I apologize. I misstated.
At Valley Brook Road, you will see 2 stories. The 4-story is set back 50-plus feet. It's that whole ordinance working together that you need to consider. And it's not a 4-story building because it doesn't meet the definition of a 4-story building. And it's not going to be 4 stories right on Valley Brook Road. It'll be 2. The 4-story is set way back. So you didn't miss anything.
Well, I think probably what I'm saying to you is that the view of the facade is not what I anticipated it to be. I don't think I was alone when in realizing that the garage level was exposed.
It had to be.
Well,
it's only exposed along Valley Brook Road. The 90% of it is not exposed. Therefore, it does not count as a story under our definition of a story.
That is exactly the idea, that we can explain away anything.
No, not explain away. Not explain away anything. It's the ordinance. You can't make developers do things that are not in the ordinance. You make them comply with the ordinance. And there they did. There's no deviation relative to the height of the building. They are requesting the variance for the 9 by 18 versus 10 by 20 parking in the garage, which in my mind is de minimis.
We made a recommendation or suggestion
in favor
to do a mix and not require all the parking lots to be 10 by 20.
10 by 20.
They could have some 10 by 20, but where maybe it's pillars
The structure.
that were impeding the size of each space. So we make those 9 by 18, but to have the balance be 10 by 20. So you can
see, and
still-
it's my understanding the developer was not willing to make that.
They are requesting the full, I think it's 80-plus spaces in that garage to be 9 by 18. Because they want a certain ratio of parking for the residents that will be residing there. It's even questionable in our zoning ordinance whether that 10 by 20 applies to private parking in a garage. We don't regulate parking in a multifamily townhome. We don't regulate parking in a single-family home in a garage. It's even questionable whether that 10 by 20 applies there. We took a conservative approach and made them go for the variance.
You know, Mr. Zook, I appreciate your explanation, and I understand that you're defending the fact that Waters is following what you perceive as the ordinances. My personal comment was just that the facade of the building and the way it will appear is not what I read it to be. And I did not realize personally that the garage was exposed. That's all I'm asking.
No.
That to me, it looks like it will be 4 stories at Valley Brook. You're right, I misstated.
No,
East
no,
McMurray.
it won't be 4 stories at
But
Valley
the
Brook.
perception,
The setback.
you do understand that perception is truth to most people. So
I
I'm
do.
just telling you my
But
perception.
I don't think there's been a lot of deviation from the rules that you perceive there are. There's been very minor deviations. That 600 feet, like I said, has been in our ordinances for 30 plus years, and I think it's a little outdated. And what?
We just did the zoning, if that was
So
the
it's in a
point.
subdivision ordinance.
Right.
We didn't
Well, all I'm-
totally update the subdivision ordinance. So
I'm
you need
sorry,
to make
I don't want
sure-
to take your meeting
you need
to
make sure
debate.
that you're hitting these things accurately, which I don't think you are.
My perception is that there are a lot of times that we have plans where there are variances, there are modifications, one thing and another. All I'm saying
There
is.
are not. There are not a lot of those. There's been a couple here, recently, but there's not a lot of variances being granted on new developments.
Well, I
It's
respect
just not
you.
happening.
I respect your perception on that.
It's an accurate perception.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. Again, thank you for everything you
Thank you for
do.
your comments.
Thank you for your comment. Thank you, Mr.
Seeing no old business on the agenda, we'll move to the new business. Planning, the Champion Capital subdivision on Ballard Road.
Champion Capital LP, they recently purchased the 2.3 plus acres at 269 Bower Hill Road. They're asking Planning Commission and the Township tonight for approval to subdivide that 2.3 acres into 2 single-family residential lots. This is the property where a recent fire occurred and there was a death, and that Champion Capital bought it and tore the house down that used to exist on Lot 1. That was done in March of this year. Here we are talking about a modification here tonight for this proposed subdivision. The proposed plan is to create one new lot, that's lot number 2, which is, will have direct driveway access to Bower Hill Road, just like the existing residents used to have. Bower Hill Road is classified as a collector roadway in Peters Township, and our subdivision ordinance stipulates that except for previously recorded lots of record, you're not allowed to create new lots with direct access to Bower Hill Road. They're requesting the subdivision be approved in this modification request. This section of Bower Hill Road has a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit. The required safe sight distance in our subdivision ordinance, looking left from the new lot is lot 2. Looking left is 250 feet, and looking right is 195 feet. This stretch of Bower Hill Road, as you can see on that subdivision, it's a fairly long straightaway, so there's good sight distance from the proposed driveway on Lot 2. They would exceed the 250 left and the 195 right to meet and exceed our township safe sight distance for the driveway on Lot 2. The driveway on Lot 1, too, has the required safe sight distance. This property is in our low-density residential zoning district. The minimum lot size in that district is a half acre. Both of these lots exceed 1 acre. This area of Peters is serviced by the Peters Creek Sanitary Authority. There is public sanitary sewer access available to both of these lots 1 and 2. The plan includes a 20-foot wide sanitary slash utility easement between the 50-foot building line and the property line along Valley Brook. There's a 20-foot easement that runs, there's a sanitary sewer right here. And Peters Creek has indicated that they will provide, that utility easement will provide access to, for both lots 1 and 2 to that public sewer. There is the requirement that Peters Creek Sanitary Authority approve this plan, as well as DEP has to approve sewage facility planning modules. Therefore, staff's recommending that the Planning Commission recommend council approve the Champion Capital Final Plan, including the modification to our subdivision ordinance, section 385-36, blocks, lots, and parcels, be approved subject to those 9 conditions that are listed in my report. Lot 2 would be subject to a $1,500 traffic impact fee. That's one of the conditions on the plan. And both lots will be required to, at the time of building permit, come in with their building permit application, a stormwater management plan for each lot as each proposed home is submitted for building permit application. Other than that, the plan is in pretty good shape, and staff is recommending approval subject to those 9 conditions.
Is there someone here to talk about the plan?
Yes.
Can you come up and
Yes.
maybe answer a couple questions for me? On the plan itself, it shows some high tension wires. I can't see those on the bird's eye view. Are they pretty predominant? Are they real high?
Yes, they are high and they're pretty large. I mean, you see it on the plan, and they just cut up right.
Tell us your name first.
My name's Andrew Ehrenberg on behalf of Champion Capital.
Isn't it kind of strange to have, like, I mean, I did go to Township to see what other lots have high tension wires, but won't the driveway be like right under these high tension wires to get in there? Or is it going to be tough to put a house in there with those high tension?
I mean,
Any problems with doing that?
No, it shouldn't be a problem. But just the way we subdivided it to optimize both these lots, and like Ed said, with the driveway having to come up the side, cannot face Bower Hill Road, it will slightly be under that power line,
So when you
but
say
it shouldn't
on
be.
the side, I wasn't quite clear. Where would it come? On the side yard or on the south side?
The driveway would be here.
This way?
It's not uncommon to have a power line right away running through.
Yeah, like I said, I never went around really.
There's a lot of those in Peters, and Great Meadows has them,
Stonehenge.
Windermere has them, Stonehenge has them.
Okay.
It's not uncommon.
It's a pretty tight space you're building on lot 2 though, right? Because there's a pretty significant drop off in the back for that stream.
Yes, we have intentions to build a larger home on lot 1 and a significantly smaller one on 2. I shouldn't say significantly, but they won't be 2 exactly the same Hoskins style homes. Put it that way.
The only issue that I had in the plan staff had already labeled it was the front sides and rears be clearly labeled. So we know what the front is.
Mm-hmm.
So that the house doesn't face a different direction.
Right.
If there was not safe site distance here for Lot 2, then, I wouldn't be sitting here recommending that we grant that modification. This is along a fairly straight portion of Bower Hill Road. If there was not the required safe site distance, then it'd be a different story. But in this case, there is safe site distance. We're creating a 1.21 acre lot, and minimum is half an acre.
Yeah, the numbers all fit fine.
So that part of Hoskins Plan that comes down, that's shown on the overhead, is that already there? That road already built?
Yes.
Is it? I
It's
can't
Camden.
recall. I was down there not that long ago when this fire happened,
Yes.
and I couldn't recall if that connection was already made.
That's Camden Drive.
So the sewage connection is already built. It's already there.
Sanitary sewer's there.
Any other comments? Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that the planning commission approve the recommendation based upon the planning commission's memo dated July 6, 2018 for the Champion Capital Final Subdivision, as well as the 9 recommendations so stated in the memo.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks. We'll figure out when this plan's going to council. We need planning modules and such. It'll go probably sometime in August.
Anything for the planning portion then?
Well, the only thing is, I want to let planning commission know we have hired, Emily has left, and we've hired 2 new folks. This is their first week of work. I didn't make them come tonight because it's such a short little meeting, and at the next meeting, I will introduce our new assistant planning director, which is Seth Coons, and our new zoning person, code enforcement officer, which is Kristen Hoon. So they'll be at our next meeting in August. Other than that, I don't have anything further.
All right. Meeting adjourned.